Greetings ladies and gentlefish, and welcome to another World of Tanks video with some more subscriber replays. Now, we're going to kick off proceedings with the Syatnik Panzi from the EU server. In fact, both of these games are from the EU server. He is platooned up with some grass and they are in even an IS-3 platoon. Now, many of you guys may have seen some of my videos where I've showcased games from both of these guys before. Panzi is one of the dingers, and Sumgrass is an ex-dinger now in a proper clan. He's now in Ideal. And we're going to see more of Sumgrass a bit later on in this video. But for now, these two are basically going to bully their way through a tier 8 game. I'm not going to lie, they're in an IS-3 platoon, it's a tier 8 game. This is going to be messy because the IS-3 is a completely balanced tank, ladies and gentlemen, and don't let anyone ever tell you otherwise. And you can, if anyone's following chat, you can see how seriously they are taking this. So I thought this would be a fun way of kicking things off. Here on Swamp, which is not the IS-3's natural environment, but whatever, who cares, I'm sure it will cope. There is, however, no artillery, which is great because Sumgrass is, well, he's a uniscrub. He's, you know, 3K, WNA, all of this jazz. He's an exceptional player, and if there is artillery around, you can pretty much guarantee that it will be shooting at Sumgrass. I have platooned with him, I have experienced this. It's almost as if when platooned with Sumgrass, you have an invisible anti-artillery shield around your tank, because he will take all of the fire. It's kind of amusing, unless you're him, of course. But anyway, it's all good. So, Panzi and Sumscrub just coming up here. They've managed to put some damage into an IS-3 and a T-32 and all of that jazz. And hull down IS-3 is a beast, so it just bounces whatever shot that was from. No idea. Hey look, T-29. Ah, Panzi, what you doing? Panzi unfortunately misses that shot. The BL9 gun on the IS-3 is a little bit stupid. It gets 390 alpha damage, 225 penetration. The accuracy isn't great, but it's not as bad as the preceding Soviet 122mm guns at 0.4 dispersion at 100 meters. And the aiming stats, the soft stats on this gun are better than the T-32, for example, which gets a smaller caliber gun, and so it actually snaps shots surprisingly well. Basically, it's an incredibly good gun, and I've no idea why Panzi thought that was going to penetrate T-29's turret, but whatever. It's actually a really, really good gun to have on a tier 8 heavy tank. Hello, Mr. T-29. Hello, Mr. IS-3. You're both hopefully going to be in trouble. There we go. Yeah, Soviet 122mm guns are totally inaccurate, aren't they? Sumgrass goes forwards, executes that T-29, but he takes a hit for his troubles. He's now not on a huge amount of health. Panzi to the rescue and manages to get in the way of the enemy IS-3, and he's just bullying the hell out of this poor guy. Because the one thing more balanced about an IS-3 is a platoon of IS-3s. Ah, there we go. 3 kills between the platoon. Now, Sumscrub's actually taken a bit of a smacking there. He's only got 181 health. So, apart from the, you know, light tanks and the really low tier machines on the enemy team, he's a one-shot for anyone else, assuming they can penetrate the damn thing, of course. Panzi has a bit more health to his name, but that doesn't stop Sumgrass going for it, holding down the W key and driving forwards to kill people in glorious IS-3 fashion, because that's essentially how you play the IS-3 when it's top tier. You hold down W until the enemy team are dead. Chaffee there, Rudy, some T-34 medium tank, sorry, a T-43. None of them have a realistic chance of doing much damage to an IS-3, so who really cares? Coming up here, T-28 prototype. Now, of all the tanks left on the enemy team, this is one of two that actually poses a notable threat to the IS-3 platoon here. And there's the Charioteer, the other one. Because the IS-3's armor, if it just points it straight at you, is almost completely immune to guns that have less than around about 200 penetration. However, the T-28 prototype has about 250 and the Charioteer has about 270. Assuming he can actually hit a bit of the IS-3 that's just a piece of flat armour. But you know, what you're going to do. So these are the two guys that actually pose a credible threat to Pansy and Sumgrass here. So if they can kill these two guys, they'll probably be able to just hold W through the rest of the enemy team. Unless they're willing to load premium ammunition, of course, and even then, penetrating an IS-3 is not a trivial task. So there's the T-28. Pansy takes his shot, but misses. T-28 takes a shot, hits and penetrates. 250 pen on that 120mm gun does rather make a mess. Going for the cheeks of the T-28 prototype there and manages to penetrate him with the Soviet turret holding up to the T-28 prototype's return fire. Now, be a little bit careful about that Charioteer. He's been a sneaky little bugger and gone right around the side, but Pansy pulls back, and although he does take a hit from the prototype, he doesn't take any damage from the Charioteer. Now, people are so desperate to damage these guys that someone's actually spamming HE at Sumgrass. Yes, they are spamming high explosive at him in order to chip and dime away at his remaining health. And in this situation, it's actually... No, it's still a pretty dumb idea, because these guys could actually penetrate the side and rear of an IS-3, in particular the rear. Side can still be a bit of a pain. But there we go. T-28 prototype, not up to the scratch, and Pansy takes him out. That just leaves the Charioteer and the T-43. T-43 is of almost negligible threat, unless the guy gets these fellows in the bum, or loads APCR and gets them in the bum or side. And there's the Charioteer. One of the platoon may die. Oh no. Pansy misses but bounces the return fire. Sumgrass is going around the rear. Pansy is backing off because the Charioteer will reload before he does. Sumgrass kills the Charioteer, and that just leaves the T-43, who should be trivial to deal with. He's just a T-43. It's not the finest tank in the world, and it's out-tiered, outgunned, out-armoured, out-everything. So these guys just need to find the fellow and execute him. There's the T-43. And, oh, come on. Get him. Get him. Pansy bounces, and the T-43 kills Sumgrass. Oh my lord, what the hell is happening? So, the one tank, who shouldn't really have posed much of a threat to either of these guys, bounces the BL-9 and kills Sumgrass. Clearly, Sumgrass's scrubby qualities are coming forward. Pansy, however, is able to finish the fellow off, and that is the game. So, let's go and have a quick look at those post-battle results. So, despite the platoon being robbed right at the end of their Brothers in Arms medal, that was still a really nice haul of awards for Pansy there. Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Fighter, Duelist, Fire for Effect, Shellproof Steel Wall, and a High Caliber medal. 4,262 damage done, 4 kills, 1,381 base experience. If we look at Sumgrass, that was 3,408 damage done, 4 kills, and 1,032 base experience, kicking the snot out of anything they came across, apart from that T-43 apparently. Commiserations to the enemy Charioteer, 3k damage, but not enough for the win there, I'm afraid, my fellow. 18 shots fired, 13 hits, 11 pens for that damage count. 13 hits received, 3 penetrations, 10 bounced for 2,750 damage blocked by armour, and a fairly respectable profit in credits too. Because the IS-3 is completely fair and balanced. And really hard to play, you guys. Really hard to play. Anyway, on to our next game. Here we go then. I promised you would be seeing more of Sumgrass a little bit later, and he is driving the bigger brother of the IS-3 that we just saw. This is the Tier 10, the IS-7, and he's actually platooned up with another member of the EU forum regular posters. I'm usually among them, though I must admit I haven't really posted anything lately. I just physically haven't had the time. Anyway, Lord Muffin, Sumgrass's platoon mate is in the American Tier 10 heavy tank, the T-110E5, and as I mentioned, Sumgrass is here in his IS-7. Both of these tanks are potentially relatively powerful Tier 10 heavy tanks. Some people consider the IS-7 to have been a little bit power creeped. Honestly, not played it myself, but, well, I haven't played it outside of special game modes, I should say. But it looks like a very strong tank to me. I don't really see what people are complaining about. And the T-110E5, well, it's the T-110E5. I mean, what more can you say? So we're here on Sacred Valley. I always get this map confused with Pearl River in terms of name. Tier 10 game, obviously, these are both Tier 10 tanks, and immediately you can see Sumgrass is going balls to the wall into a very aggressive position. Now that's a T-110E3, not a tank to be trifled with. He manages to track the guy, and Lord Muffin puts a shot in, but the friendly team is rather getting a bit of a face kicking. Sumgrass has a go for the E100 and manages to put a shot through the guy's lower front plate, and it looked like the T-110E3 went off a little bit early there. Hee titter. And he gets himself tracked and shot a lot, and now he's only got 460 odd health. So the IS-7, it comes after the IS-3, but really I've heard it compared more with the Chinese 110, the Tier 8 heavy tank. It's got a not a weak lower plate, but a lower plate that can be a weakness in the same way as it is on the 110. Very strong upper front hull as long as you point the tank directly at your opponents, again, like the 110. And, woohoo, that was lucky. It does, however, get that magic Russian side armor that you see on a lot of these Soviet heavy tanks. Hello, Mr. Lower Plate. Gets a kind of derpy 130mm gun, though. This is generally considered to be one of the worst Tier 10 heavy tank guns. Just because at Tier 10, the 490 alpha damage, while not bad, is also not that special. The penetration, I think, is just a shade under 250 with AP. Oh, it's exactly 250, which isn't great, and the accuracy is not very good. Sumgrass finally takes a damaging hit there from the E100. Now, that situation was a bit weird, because on the one hand, ouch, Sumgrass was not really pointing his front at the tank in the way people generally assume you're going to use the IS-7. On the other hand, his position made it, by the seams of it, relatively difficult for people to actually hit the hull. And the IS-7's turret is all but impenetrable, so that wasn't really a concern. Jagdtiger is down, Lord Muffin picks up the kill there, and Sumgrass gets relatively lucky as he bounces that round from whoever it was from, and is rewarded with the backside of a T-62. AMX 5120 up there, he is a threat, of course, with that 4-round 120mm auto-loader, but he's never going to go through the IS-7's turret, and Sumgrass is able to just bully him in that position with relative ease. Lord Muffin is behind him. Sumgrass does take one hit there, and here you can see another problem with the IS-7, the pretty long reload time. Lord Muffin gets taken down by a bat chap, and Sumgrass puts a shot into the T-10 who was behind him. Scoreline is 5-9. Sumgrass only has 131 health. This isn't looking exactly fantastic, but we shall see. Now, we did kind of have a look at it. Sumgrass does actually have 2 marks of excellence on his IS-7, so he clearly knows what he is doing with the tank. Friendly team actually managed to pick up a couple of kills now, evening the score up a little bit. It's now 7-9. Sumgrass really doesn't want to take a shot from the Batchat in the side, but the T-95 nukes him anyway. There's the AMX 5120 again. There's a shot through the turret, and the FV215B finishes him off, and suddenly the scoreline is 10-10, and things aren't looking quite so dire. RU-251 away in the distance. The RU is never going to penetrate an IS-7. Not that he was trying to, but just going to say that Sumgrass didn't really have anything to worry about in that situation, unless the RU loaded heat, I guess. And even then, it'd have to be a very good shot. And now we're just left with a WZ-132, Skoda T50, WZ-111-1-4, and the Waffenträger Alpha E100. This is a patch 914 game, so the waffle thrower at Tier 10 was still a thing. Skoda is still a dangerous tank. It may only be tier 9, but it's got that 3-round autoloader and a very fast reload time between magazines. He only needs one of those 100mm shells to finish Sumgrass off, and there of course is the tier 10 waffle thrower. Sumgrass puts a shot into his paper-thin turret and is going to try and deal with this guy by the look of it. They lose the FV. Waffle thrower only has Sumgrass's turret to shoot at, which is never going to penetrate. And the guy has lost about half his health now. Now, Sumgrass, you can see here, his next round is armor piercing, but he was actually loading a HE round after that, which he continues loading, but if this Jagdpanzer gets his way, yeah, the HE round won't be necessary. Having said that, Skoda T50 looks like he'll be the... Nope, never mind. WZ-111 is going to be the next guy that Sumgrass will be able to shoot, so he's switching back to the armor piercing. And you can see that Sumgrass has burnt through quite a lot of ammo in this match. Does carry 9 rounds of APCR, but... sorry, 6 rounds, but hasn't used them yet. And there are people on the enemy team whinging about the loss. And Lord Muffin says in chat, should have capped when you had the chance. And this is the thing, the result actually looked pretty convincing. Like a pretty convincing win for the enemy team. So I can understand them not wanting to cap and just wanting to finish the game off. As it turned out, however, the friendly team just, I don't know, flicked a switch, man mode engaged, and that's a shame. It turns out the WZ-111 never even showed to the party. So this is just some free damage to farm for Sumgrass and anyone else in the vicinity, which is currently no one. So this is free damage for Sumgrass to farm. This is rather cheeky, but hey, let's be honest. If you were in this situation, you'd do the same thing, and why not? No threat whatsoever from this WZ, even bothering to track the guy as he shoots him, just in case. I mean, what? Well, to be fair, if there were any artillery or another ally in the vicinity on the friendly team, then he'd pick up assistance damage if they shot him. Sumgrass, it looked like there was possibly waiting to see if he could pick up an invader medal as well as the kill, but decides that he really can't be bothered, executes the WZ-111, and that was the game. So I don't think I've shown an IS-7 replay before, and with that in mind, let's go and have a look at the results of this game. So here we go then. Ace Tanker, perhaps unsurprisingly for Sumgrass in his IS-7, Bruiser, Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effect, Shell Proof. Is that a Spartan or a Cool-Headed? That's Spartan for bouncing a shot while being on less than 10% health, and a High Caliber medal. A very nice result indeed altogether. 8,482 damage done, 5 kills, 1,331 base experience, and even if you take off the, what, probably about 1,700 health of the WZ at the end, that is still well over 6,000 damage done, almost 7,000, so still a lot of damage however you look at it. Lord Muffin had a respectable game as well, 3,764 damage, 1 kill, 927 base experience, and actually the T-62A managed just shy of 4,000 damage, and the FV-215B managed just over 4,000 damage, so it really was a bit of a carry by those 4 members. Sumgrass, Vodovzrodo, Tiram Puttu, and Lord Muffin. So well done to all of those guys. 22 shots fired, 22 hits, 19 pens for that damage count. 10 hits received, 3 penned, 7 didn't. And of those 3 that penned, they tended to be from pretty big guns. 1 penetration from the AMX 5120, that 120mm gun. 1 penetration from the 15cm gun on the E100, and 1 penetration from the 17cm gun on the Jagdpanzer E100. 3,740 damage blocked by his armor, 1 enemy tank spotted, 9 damage, 5 destroyed, 489 assistance damage, 37 base capture points. And even though he fired 1 round of APCR at the end against a guy who was AFK because he'd ran out of good old-fashioned armor piercing, still made a very healthy profit, and still would have made a 20-odd thousand credit profit with a regular account. So, all told, really nice game there from Sumgrass. Very nice indeed. And it was nice to see a couple of Soviet heavy tanks, including one I've not shown before, of course, being the IS-7. in that replay. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to catch some of my other videos and or subscribe to my channel. And remember, you can of course send me your own replays if you want to do that. Upload the replay file to whatreplays.com. Send me the URL link to that replay as a PM on YouTube, and I shall take a look. I try to prioritize players or tanks that I have not showcased before. Your game doesn't necessarily have to be some ridiculous ace tanker affair in order to get shown, though that is of course always nice. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy doing whatever it is you're doing, and I'll catch you in another video. Ciao ciao.